It wasn't too long ago that the French star and World Cup champion stood next to PSG president Nasser Al-Khelaifi at Parc des Princes in front of fireworks and all this commotion announcing his contract extension to 2025. Now we fast forward and sacre bleu. C'est une catastrophe. Kylian Mbappe wants out of PSG in January. What happens next is the next question, and both for him and, of course, the club. LME here, Luis Miguel Echegaray with my brothers in arms, Julien and Alejandro Moreno. Jules, straight away, once again, a telenovela, the young and the restless Mbappe. What is the latest with the French star?
Well, PSG and Kylian Mbappe are the gift that keeps on giving, my friend, because as you said, 5 months ago, it was, oh, okay, great. At least we're in peace for 2 years with that new contract, with no more sagas, no more twists, nothing like that. And yet 143 days later, this is it. He's had enough. We're being told that he wants out because of all the promises they made him for that new contract, his positioning on the pitch, which is not the one where he wants to play. He doesn't want to play to be the center forward. He wants to play off a striker, and there's no striker. He couldn't sign one in the summer. He wanted another center back. There's no other center back. Basically, there's a lot of things that they said would happen, and that didn't happen. So now he said, I feel betrayed by the club. The relationship is broken. He goes beyond football, all those strong words. And he wants to go ASAP, which I guess would mean January.
It's really, really hard, Luis Miguel and Jules, to feel any sort of sympathy or feel sorry for Kylian Mbappe. Now, and I'm just going to tell you this from a former striker perspective, right? What is the problem, Kylian? I know, okay, fine, you want to play withdrawn from the striker. Maybe you want to play underneath. Maybe that's where you have the freedom to do the things so that you can express yourself on the field. But I'm going to give you sort of the other side of the argument. Behind you, you have Lionel Messi, who can find you with a pass wherever you want and whatever space you want in behind. And then next to you, you will have Neymar, who will attract attention all the time because of the player that he is and his playing style. And so therefore, in attracting that attention, defenders are going to look at him, which is going to leave you with 1v1 situations. So all you would have to do, theoretically speaking, is find an open space. One guy will find you, and then the other guy will attract attention away from you. What is so wrong with that? You're going to get tap-ins. You're going to get goals. You're going to get goal-scoring opportunities. You're going to win titles. And then you're going to get a whole lot of money. Man, it is tough to buy into the idea that because you're playing out of position and the promises were not kept, now you're miserable and you need to go somewhere else. As a former player myself and as a former striker, I have to say, there are worse things in the world.
What is wrong with that, Jules? What is wrong with that? Because also at the other side of the coin here as well, I'm thinking about PSG itself. Christophe Galtier seemed to have put the classroom in order. Of course, Neymar having one of the best seasons of his career. And obviously Lionel Messi feeling happily after winning Copa America. Everything seems in place. Is it time, Jules? And then Ali, I want you to add after that. Is it time now for PSG to be like, you know what? We're pretty rich as a club. It's fine. You want to go, we'll let you go, but not for a good price, of course. How's PSG thinking about this, do you think?
Well, at the moment, they're saying that it's not for sale, that he would not leave in January. In the summer is a different story, but certainly not in January. I think everything Alice said is right, and I think there's a lot of people who agree with him on the situation and the Mbappe resentment. I think resentment is maybe the right way of putting it. It's not Stoke City under Tony Pulis where they hoof the ball at you and you have to hold it up all the time. And this is Neymar and Messi. He says, I don't want to hold the ball up. I want another striker to do that. I want to be the second striker to play off the guy who will hold the ball up. He doesn't want to run down the channel. He wants someone else. All that kind of things, which I guess is the counter argument to what Ali was saying. But I completely agree with the lack of sympathy. And I think there's a lot, again, of people who share that. He doesn't care. He's so stubborn. This is what he wants. And when he's got something in his mind like that, it's very hard to change his mind. And that's why if you're PSG right now, you have to really consider everything. Of course, they can force him to stay. As we said, he's 5 months into a 2-year deal. So they're in a strong position. Would that really work? Would that be counterproductive to keep him at the club when he wants to go? On the other hand, who can buy him right now? Who can buy him in January? Who will spend 200 million in transfer fee and then pay his wages. I think he's ready to lower down his wages because right now he's the highest paid player in the world, and no one can pay 200 million in transfer fee. And then on top of that, his enormous wages. But I'm not really sure that they're going to queue in January to sign him. So he might have to wait for the summer, and then in the summer, things might be different. But from a PSG point of view, this was brewing. We knew about the tensions. We knew there was something wrong. Remember his Instagram post and the pivot word he used and what he said with the national team, that he was happier with France because he had more freedom, blah, blah, blah. So this was brewing. This was coming. We knew it. That he came on the day of a Champions League game. Again, this is Mbappe for you and the Mbappe clan. But now they will sit down, try to talk it through. But again, I'm being told that is, from their point of view, is so broken that there's no way back.
Well, that's where I was going, Ale, because, you know, Jules made a very good point there about like, okay, let's say that PSG end up saying, all right, fine, we'll figure it out. Obviously, the Real Madrid are the leading contenders. I'm sure that Mbappe is WhatsApping and FaceTiming with Florentino Perez at any given opportunity. But does anybody want this kind of a headache? Do you think any other club outside of Real Madrid wants this kind of disruption? To your point about Mbappe just being the kind of player that's like, look, kid, like, you got to deal with it. Be happy with it. Do you think there's anybody else out there that will be interested by bringing somebody like him?
Well, I would say that Real Madrid don't think they were all that enthused or appreciated the fact that Kylian Mbappe used them as a negotiating piece when he was trying to work out his deal with PSG. That he sort of dangled Real Madrid as the potential landing spot, which then forced PSG to say, here are the keys to the kingdom. Do whatever you want, Kylian. Here we go. We promise you the world. We want you to stay. We need you to stay. Here's everything for you and everything that you have asked for. Now, Kylian Mbappe would argue, well, they didn't give me everything. Hard. And again, hard to sympathize and empathize with Kylian Mbappe because it feels like everything was sort of shifted towards his direction and everything was built so that he would be happy. Now, in terms of Real Madrid and their perspective, every time that they walk into a negotiating room, for the most part, they're holding all the cards. In this case, they thought they were holding all the cards, and Kylian Mbappe said, yeah, no, I'm going back to PSG. I don't think that sat well with Real Madrid fans, and those that are in a decision-making position. Now, in an overall picture, this is another thing that I would say to Kylian Mbappe. Right there, next to you, in the locker room, you probably have arguably one of the best players, if not the best player in the history of the game, who has made a decision himself to change his game because he notices that he can no longer do the things that he once did as a player. So Lionel Messi has adjusted his game. Lionel Messi, okay, let me repeat that. Lionel Messi has adjusted his game so that he fits PSG and what PSG wants to do.
Country and too, Ale. Argentina as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He has adjusted his game. He has looked in the mirror and said, this is what I need to do in order to be effective and productive for both club and country. Again, Lionel Messi. And Kylian Mbappe is telling all of us, I don't want to play there. I want to play my position. I want what I want. I want the money, and I want the position, and I want everybody to love me, and I want the headlines to be about me. Man, it's tough. It really is tough. As much as I like Kylian Mbappe as a player, and I think he's a generational talent, it's tough to root for him in this situation.
Jules, how difficult is it for Christophe Galtier in this moment? He is a manager that's renowned for nurturing, discipline, understanding the cohesion of a squad. It's why he was so successful with other clubs, including Lille, of course, and Luis Campos to that point, actually. How are those two thinking about this from a practical standpoint? And is it that bad for PSG if they say bye-bye? Because, you know, top of the league, Champions League, doing well, you take out Mbappe out of that equation. Does the castle completely come tumbling down?
I don't know if it come tumbling down. The thing is, you will have to replace him. And right now, apart from Erling Haaland, and I guess someone like Vinicius Jr., there's not many players who can come in and you say, okay, we've lost an incredible talent, but look, we've signed another one. There's not that many like Kylian, whether we like him or not, whether we like what's happening right now or not. This is the truth. Like Ali said, he's a generational talent. There's a Rafael Leao, for example, who's I think will be very high on the shortlist at PSG if Kylian was to go. But it's hard to tell until we know who is replacing him to see if the team will be better or worse with or without him, that kind of stuff. And especially that Messi obviously is coming at the end of his 2-year deal. There's a 3rd year in option, but that both PSG and Messi have to trigger together. So that it's not given that Messi will say, okay, yeah, I want to stay and extend his deal in Paris, because he might well say, I don't want to stay. I'm off to MLS, Barcelona, Argentina, wherever. So that's tricky, because if all of your 3 big stars, suddenly you find yourself with no Messi, no Mbappe, and only a 31 in February year-old Neymar, then it's a different story, and the rebuild starts there, and it might not be easy. If you're Galtier right now, and he avoided the questions yesterday before the game, after the game against Benfica, he didn't want to talk about it. I think he knew it was coming. Anyway, as we said earlier, it was brewing. Luis Campos denied the story by saying, Kylian never told me he wanted to leave, which is not what we've been reporting. We didn't say that he told him. We said that he wants to go now. They will have that sit down, that meeting, and they will say what they have to say to each other. But if you're PSG right now, it's a difficult situation. What the Qatari wanted was to have Messi and Neymar and Mbappe as PSG player for the World Cup. And they will have that regardless now, because Mbappe cannot move before January anyway. So on that point, the Mbappe sort of mission back in May and in the summer was a success, because this is what they wanted and they have it. And they will have a World Cup in Qatar with the 3 PSG players, 3 of the biggest players in the world, playing for them still for their club. After that, I don't think anyone right now can predict what will happen.
So that's why I want to end this with a 1-word answer. We're in January. It's after the World Cup. Everything is done. Is Mbappe a PSG player come January, mid-January, Ale Moreno?
1-word answer, yes, he is.
All right. Well, that's 3, but it's okay. I know what you Jules, what about you?
It's not my strength.
Because Ali said yes, I'll say no. I'll say that he will win that battle. Like he won the battle in May, even if now he regrets it. So I would go for no. He will get the move that he wants.
All right.
That's definitely more than 1.
Yeah, that was like 150.
I'm like you, Ali. I can't do it.
Well, we're in a yes and we're in a no. At this point, I'm going more with Jules here. I don't think he will stay. And again, I didn't even say 1 word. But there you have it. The castle at PSG is looking very, very shaky indeed. The superstar, Kylian Mbappe, wants out. We will have to see. Maybe not next week, maybe not next month, but definitely in the near future, if indeed he will stay in Paris.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.